Okay. Can somebody just let me know that they can see my screen, please? Yep. Bro. Okay. So what we're going to cover first then is how we would go into the WIS system and create a session. So I'm going to start by going into the location screen, which we did cover in yesterday's session. So what I'm going to do then, I'm going to search for my location. My location's been returned, so I'm going to select the View Location button. Now this means that my location has been set. So at the top now I can see that I'm now in the NWIS test location. So you have a couple of navigation routes then into the sessions. We've got a sessions button, we've got a create new sessions button, and then we've also got sessions on the left hand side in the main menu bar. So I'm going to go in using the sessions button. So this is our session list. This is what has replaced the sort of calendar view, and this is what you'll have at the end of August. So this is where you would create your session from. So I've got my date today with a today tag, so just telling me that it is today. And then I can see a rolling 7 days then from today's date. As you can see, I've already set a session up in for tomorrow. What we're going to go in and do though is create a session for today and for a couple of weeks' time. So first start by selecting the Create a Session button. And now we are in the session flow. So this is the first screen. You've got a cancel and exit button in the header. So if you select that, it will just discard all your changes and then return you to the session list view. Exit, that will do the same thing as well. So it'll exit you out of the create session flow and it'll take you back to the session list. But we don't want to do that. We actually do want to create a session. So all mandatory fields are marked with a red asterisk. I'm going to name it something really created. So you might have seen this in previous demos, but obviously this is training, so I'm going to show you again. If you don't complete a mandatory field, so if I select continue, I now get an error summary at the top of the page, and this is consistent across the app. So any error messages now will appear in an error summary at the top of the screen. They're clickable links, so if I click the error, it bounces me to the bottom of the page where the error is, and then you can see clearly in red, it's telling me what I need to do to correct the field. So it's telling me I need to select a timed or an untimed option. So I'm going to select timed. Now this screen is our provide timed session details. So this is where you enter your start time, end time, and your length of your appointments. Again, I can cancel and exit at any time. And now I also got the ability to go back a step. So if I click the back a step button, it just takes me to the previous page. And if I want to make any changes, then I can. And same again, if I wanted to change it from a timed to an untimed, then I could. But I'm going to keep it for timed for the sake of this demo. Press continue, and now I'm back. So the session date always defaults to today's date. And obviously you can change this by either typing in the field, or you can use the calendar to select a date from there. Start time then, I'm just going to put some information in here. So these fields are based on a 12-hour clock. That's just something to make note of. I'm going to put 8 till 5. Length of appointment 2. And then what you'll see is you'll get a calculation at the bottom telling you your total appointments per session. So if I make any changes on here, it'll recalculate it every time. Same as if I input a break time start and a break time end. So for example, if I know that I'm going to have a dedicated lunch hour every day, then I would go in, and enter that into the break time start and end. Appreciate that's probably not what happens, but for the sake of training, we'll pretend that it does. And there you go. So I've put in a break time start and a break time end, and that just means that no slots are going to be generated between 1 and 2 p.m. At the bottom here, then we've got our recurrence pattern. So recurrence pattern, if it's set to do not repeat, that would be your one-off sessions. Obviously, if you want it to repeat weekly or fortnightly, you just select the drop-down field and you can choose either. I'm going to repeat mine weekly. I'm going to do it every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So tick as per whatever you want, basically. And then your repeat until date is just when you want those sessions to repeat until. So if you want to do them for 2 months, then you would put your end date for 2 months' time. So you can free type into the field, or you can use the calendar to select it. And I'm just going to do mine until the end of the month. So the next page is your age range. You get the option to choose by date of birth, or you can choose by age. If you do by date of birth, it is mandatory to enter a from and a to date of birth. And similar with by age, it's mandatory to enter a minimum and a maximum age. So I'm going to choose by age. I'm just going to do it from 0 to 130. And again, you also get the back a step functionality, and that's consistent across all the pages until you reach the end. So if I wanted to go back and change any details, any of my times, then I could. That will remain on the flow. So my next page then is my priority groups. So I get to choose if I want to include any priority groups, that'll be all priority groups that are set up, or I can just choose selected. I'm just going to choose a couple. Again, this is mandatory, so you do have to select an option of either any or selected. Just tick and continue. And then I need to choose what vaccines that I want to set my session up for. So I can either choose a singular vaccine, or I can choose all of them, or only 2. So I'm just going to do mine for COVID and flu. Press continue. This is our booking details. So this is asking me what type of bookings do I want to allow into my session. So do I want it to allow mass bookings? So when we do an SGA run or a mass booking run, my session will get picked up and citizens will get appointed into it. Or do I want to do manual bookings? So that if you're going through and just booking singular appointments, will my session be there available to book them into? So I can either tick one or both. So for the purpose of this, I'm going to do both and press continue. And then we get a summary page. So this page is just a summary of everything that I've input on the screen so far. It's just a fail safe for me to just check that everything is right. Or also if I've looked at it and thought, oh, that's actually not quite right and I want to change something, then I can. So for example, if I go in and say, I don't want to do those priority groups anymore, and I select the change button, I'm going to change it to all. I've changed my mind. Press continue, and back onto the summary page then. It's now updated to show that I've changed it. So you can do that for any section that's got the change section on it. So once I've looked at my summary screen then and I'm happy with everything that I've input, and I decide, yes, I do want to create that session, I press the create session button. Need a little bit of elevator music for these loading screens. Apologies, I've travelled into the office today for training yesterday and today, and it always seems to run a little bit slower than when I'm at home. Ah, there we go. Bit of patience never hurt anybody. So now my session has been created. I've got a completion page. It's telling me the name of the session that I've created, the location that I've created it at, and also the dates that the session is running from and to. So if I select close. So now I've been returned to the summary to the session list, sorry, and you can see that my session is in there now. And it's shown as a recurring session, it's showing the times, and it's showing the vaccines that I have set it up for. So that is how you would go in and create a session. What I'm going to show you next is how you would amend a session once it has been created. So that session that I've just created then for Thursday the 7th of August, I'm going to click in there. You get your appointment list, which is if you had patients booked in, you would see them on this list. And again, I'll be covering that in the training session later this week. So you get your appointment list tab, and then you also get your settings tab. If you click the settings tab, you'll get the option to make changes to the session. So that's making any amendments after it has been created. So I'm going to click make changes to the session. And it's really similar to the summary view that you get when you create it, as in you will get the option to select change next to the sections that you want to edit. So for example, if I want to come in here and change the session details, I'm going to click the change button and I'm going to decide that I want it to start, or actually I'm going to end it a little bit earlier than planned. I'm going to cut half the day off. So as you can see now, my total appointments per session has decreased as well, because obviously I've cut the day in half. And I'm gonna say that I don't want it to occur on a Tuesday anymore. So I press continue. Oh, that didn't like me. That's why. Don't need a break time anymore because we're not having a lunch. Press continue. So if I go back to the section now, I can see that my break time start and end has been removed. I've now changed it from 8 to 5 and it's now 8 to 11. I need to press the continue button to actually confirm these changes. So just by pressing change hasn't actually confirmed the changes. So I need to press continue. And then it's going to bring me onto this screen, which is just a little info message, just letting me know what has been done. So it's just saying, important, you're about to change the time slots. Are you sure you actually want to amend this session? Again, just sort of a fail safe, just to prompt you, just to do some double checking. If I press cancel, I'll go back to the settings tab and no changes would have been made. But I do actually want to amend my session, so I'm going to update it. And I get my confirmation screen again. So this is just saying that my session has been updated and the session name and the location. So I'm going to close that now. Go back to sessions. And then you can see that the time of my session has changed. Again, if I drill down into it further, settings, in my summary, you can see the time has changed, my break time, start and end time, and also the repeating days, because I unticked the Tuesday, so that's no longer there either. So now we know that we can amend a session. What I'm going to show you is how to cancel a session. So I have already set up a pre-existing session. I've got a patient booked in there, Bob Test. So he's supposed to be coming in tomorrow for the clinic. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to decide that I want to actually cancel that. So again, in the settings tab of the session, you'll get the option to cancel your session. You won't be able to cancel sessions if they're today's date. So if you come into the settings tab and you don't see the cancel session button on there, that's one thing to check. Just make sure that you've clicked into the right date, because that'll be why it won't let you cancel a session. This is for today. So this is for tomorrow, so we're fine. So I'm going to go in and cancel. So what I've got then is just my session details, my session date. Is asking me, do I want to continue? Yes, I do. And then again, we've got like an information message just saying that one appointment has already been booked for tomorrow and the appointment will be cancelled if you continue. So that's great. That's what I wanted to do anyway. But if I didn't at this point, I could exit and no changes would have been made. So I'd be back onto the settings tab and my session would be okay. But I do actually want to cancel the appointment. So I press the button. And again, I've got my completion page just telling me that the session has been cancelled, the date and the time, the session name, and then also how many appointments have been cancelled. So obviously if there was a lot more patients in there, it would say the exact amount of appointments that were in there. So I'm going to close that. So the session that I did just cancel on the Wednesday, the 6th of August, was a one-off session. I will just show you cancelling a recurring session as well, because you get some different options. So I'm going to click into my session, click into the settings tab, click cancel session. So we get the same session details at the top. However, now it's asking me which dates do I want to cancel. So I get the option to cancel all the dates that the session recurs on, or I can choose a specific date. If I don't enter a specific date, again, I get our error summary at the top just telling me and reminding me that I need to actually fill that field in. For training, I'm going to cancel all the dates. And then I get my important message again, just letting me know that actually no appointments have been booked. So are you happy to continue? And I am, so I'm going to cancel. Just whilst that is loading, that is pretty much the end of what I wanted to show you in terms of creating a session, amending a session, and then also cancelling a one-off and a recurring session. Does anybody have any questions? I'll keep the recording running because I know it was requested yesterday by Gina. It would be really helpful to record the Q&As. Linda, is that a hand up from earlier, or is it a question? Not sure if you're on mute. Okay, maybe we'll come back. Sophie?
Hi, Bethan. Quick question. You might be covering this later on, actually. But so when it comes to a session, say if we've got 100 patients booked in, are we allowed, is there a way to export the patients? I'm just thinking now, if we created a session and we've got, say, 100 patients booked in, then we needed to cancel the session, but we wanted to stop the call handlers booking in. Is there a way to block off the session or export the patient details, then cancel the session so we're not booking in while trying to cancel appointments at the same time, if you know what I mean? If that makes sense.
So like exporting exporting
Their names.
like a patient list, like an appointment list.
That's it. Yeah.
So it's not there at the moment. You
Okay.
can't.
Yeah.
So you'll have it as a view on your page, but there isn't a way to export it at the moment. Um,
Right.
but that's something I can find out.
Yeah.
If it's in
Lovely.
scope and when we can
Yeah.
sort of get that. Yeah, because
It. Sorry.
go on. No, it's fine. Go on.
Is there a way then we can block the session? Well, I suppose maybe we could reduce. No, if we change the lanes, if we reduce the numbers down with patients booked in, that's just going to cancel the patients, perhaps, is it?
So you don't want so you don't want to cancel the session as a whole. So you want to cancel the patients individually. Is that the scenario you're
Yeah,
thinking
so
of?
this is it. So say I'm thinking now, I don't know, something's gone wrong with the venue and
Okay.
we can't go to that venue anymore. We've got 100 patients booked in. We're actively trying to contact them via phone, but then at the same time, we don't want to book into that session. If it's live on WIS, when we're booking appointments, we might accidentally book in while we're cancelling, if you know what I mean.
Mm,
So I thought maybe if we could export a list, we can just cancel the session. We've got all the patient details,
yeah.
and then we can ring them and not worry about accidentally booking in. Sorry.
No, it's fine. No, do you know what? It's a really good question, and it's a real use case scenario as well. Um,
Yeah.
I think it's something definitely to have a bit more thought in or thought about from us as well.
Okay.
At the moment, there wouldn't be no way to sort of block it out in the
Okay.
design.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think of if you could potentially amend it so that it had no slots in it. But obviously,
Yeah.
every time you cancel your individual patient, that slot will free up. Um,
Mm.
Maybe it's something that we could catch up with outside of the training session just to see,
Okay.
that real life scenario and see what we could think about as something to introduce for that.
Yeah.
Would
Lovely.
that be
Yeah.
okay?
Yeah. Brilliant. No problem at all. Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you, Sophie. That was a really good question. Nathaniel?
Hi there. So I've got two questions. On the back of sort of talking about cancelling a session,
Mhm.
would cancellation letters be produced if we cancel the session, or is that no longer a thing?
It is a thing, and it will be available for you. It's just that it's not in here at the moment in the environment that I'm demoing. So what you'll have is on the cancel session screen, there'll be like a tick box and it'll say correspondence. Do you want to send yes or no? And you tick letters if you want to send letters. And then yeah, that would be a correspondence option.
Excellent. Well, that's brilliant. And the second question I had is at the beginning, it had the option to make sessions. Would practitioners such as GPs and pharmacies be able to make sessions themselves, or would that just be restricted to immunisation teams and the health board?
There's no restriction at the moment on creating a session. I know that in current WIS it is access role based. But we haven't restricted it at the moment. So yes, anybody could go in and create a session.
Right. Okay. No worries. Thank you very much.
That's okay. Thank you. Are there any other questions? I know there are some in the chat. I will answer them after I get off the call. What I will just show you now that my screen has decided to load. If I close on the session list, then it's just a tag just telling you that your session has now been cancelled and you can't actually drill down into that session anymore. So you won't see an appointment list or a settings tab for that session. It is completely cancelled. I just stopped sharing that. Linda, I don't know if that's a legacy hand, so if I'm ignoring you, I'm not doing it on purpose. I think it might be from previously. So I'll just I can answer your question in the chat if you do have one. Mbappe?
That's right. Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. My question is a simple one, really. I just wanted to ask, are you able to share the summary page? Reason why I'm asking is sometimes when you're booking a session, you may need to go back, say maybe to the GP or the pharmacy just to make sure you're booking the right thing, or even just to your admin manager and stuff. Is there a way you can share that screen or not?
So at the moment, there's nothing in the app to sort of like print it or export it as a list, as a summary page. It's actually a really good point, which I'm going to note down. The only thing you could do is make note yourself, but obviously that's labor intensive. I appreciate, because it's already on the screen, or potentially snip it
Yes.
off the screen and then maybe send it that way. But it's something
Yeah,
that we
that's what
can definitely look at.
That's what we currently do. And I think it would be handy if there was a way to sort of like just share, and then once it's verified, then you go ahead and book, because sometimes what happens if it's not correct, then you'd have to go back and cancel or amend the session. So yeah.
So you're just, before you go to create it, just sending it over for sanity
Yeah,
purposes, just to make sure it's actually correct, and sharing
that's
it
right.
that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. It's definitely something that we can look into, and find the best options maybe to tackle that. But thank you for that, though, because it's really good. This sort of feedback is what we need and want as well when we're showing the system.
Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Are there any other questions? No? Okay, I'm going to start recording. Thank you, everybody, for coming again today.